All right, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah. We've talked to some of you guys, but we are, I think it was one person that hasn't met us. Was it you, ma'am? You haven't met us? No. So I'm Luke, and this is Lee.
Lee Williford.
We are brothers from a rural town in eastern North Carolina. Our father started in this business in the early 1970s. Our grandfather got into it by accident in the late 1960s, 1967. So he owned a building that was the dry cleaners and a laundromat. And he worked in a sawmill, but they quit paying him rent, so he had to take that business over. He got into it. He really didn't like it. So my dad was in college. My dad dropped out of college. He financed that to him. And the Wash House started. So that was the first one back in the late 1960s. And the first thing my grandfather did when he took over that laundromat was he took down the partition that separated the blacks would wash in one section and the whites in the other, and he took down that partition, and it was accepted really well. And and that was the right thing to do. And we've been trying to improve laundries ever since. So from that one guy not paying rent in the late 1960s, today we have the whole family as a whole has about 85 stores. And
it was 86 like 2 seconds ago.
Okay, I can't keep up, Danny. But we served lots of people. I just looked before we came. Lee and I in our 34 stores this past year served 137,000 customers.
Households,
yeah, households. Yeah.
That's a lot of laundry.
Yep. And the last 3 days of the year, we estimate we gave away about 70,000 free washes in 3 days in credit. So we're big on giving back. So it's not just about money. Money is great, and it takes money to be here, and it takes money to get into this business. In some retrospects, Danny's motto. It is one of the hardest ways to get in the business, but is also one of the most affordable. It can happen, but you've got to work a little harder. I mean, if you're born with a ton of money, you can go and buy anything. But sometimes bootstrapping it with his model, and we've done a lot of those things. So a lot of the stores that we've gotten have been through finding a store that was run down and getting a lease. But I'll let Lee talk a little bit because I can run on.
Hey, everybody. Again, I'm Lee. It's so great to be here. I did get to meet several of you last night. As you can tell, I am the gregarious, outspoken one. Luke is the contemplative, quiet one. No, I'm so fortunate to have Luke as my brother. We are business partners, and we enjoy spending time together. We enjoy working together. We enjoy making differences in people's lives together. That's why we're here today. Every little drop of wisdom that you can gather while you're here, I pray will make a big difference in not only your life, but the lives of those you serve, your family, and generations after you. We are a testament to that. As Luke said, we are third generation operators. Started with one store that was acquired by pure chance, and a lot has happened over the last 50 years. So 50 years from now, there's no telling what your family members, your friends, people you serve will be saying about the decisions that you made in the next day, week, months, and years. So we just want to be a testament to what can happen over time with a lot of prayer and hard work. So we have, I could think, like 4 hours that Danny's given us to talk to you guys.
Q&A. Anybody?
Yeah.
Feel free to hit them up.
Yeah, feel free to interject at any time. I know a lot of you have those specific questions about your particular thing, but at the end of the day, if you work a laundromat properly, you can be successful. Well, the little decisions do matter, but this business can be done a lot of different ways. You can be successful on coin. You can be successful all card like us. Yeah. You can be successful with Electrolux. You can be successful with Wascomat or Chuck's Hips. I want to cover them all. Speed Queen, Dexter. At the end of the day, the washer.
What about the new Chinese?
I have no experience with those, so not sure about those.
I want to get a feel for everybody in the room. So raise your hand if you own a laundromat right now. Raise them. Okay. Okay, you own it. Hey, you own it. So I'm going to assume everyone else doesn't own one, but is in pursuit and has a desire to own one. So raise your hand if you're in pursuit. Awesome. Okay. So, like we said earlier, the things that you'll hear throughout this conference, this summit, I guess, call it the right thing.
Roundtable meeting.
Roundtable, yes. The round table. Will have a huge impact on your days ahead. It has, I mean, we've been exposed to a lot of wisdom over our lives that has been gained through hard work. And just take advantage of these times, ask questions, and take notes.
Experience is the best teacher. Taking that first step. Raise your hand if you don't own a laundry and you're here aspiring to own a laundry again. Who was that? I commend you guys. I mean, for taking that first step, really being here. Brian can tell you, taking that first step is the biggest thing. A lot of people don't want to, they get stuck in just the consumption of information, but the application never seems to happen. And by just taking that first step and getting around other people, that's an action step that's going to lead to something down the road. And, we hope to share a little bit with you today about the operations. I know who wants to hear about our operation. Like, how do you do it? How do you really do it? That's what you're here to know. How do you go from 0 to 1? How do you go from 1 to 10? Well, from 0 to 1, you guys are starting it now. You've got to figure out
You'll be able to tell us that in the next year or so. We've never been from 0 to 1, so.
That's true. Yeah. We were fortunate. Everybody's got a story. We were blessed to be born into the business. Our father was in it, and we just kind of took what he had and ran with it. And have grown from there. But I would say, get out there. There's no conversation, there's no stopping at a store that doesn't, gain something for you. Stop at the store, have the awkward conversation, go into the laundromat. Danny has videos early on in his YouTube where he goes into stores and gets kicked out. He talks to the owner, and sometimes they end up becoming friends, and he can make a deal. Sometimes you get kicked out, and that's fine. What I like to do when I go into a store...
Love you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. What I like to do when I go into a store is I say, hey, I see you have some down equipment, and it's normally not the owner there, it's one of their staff. And I say, I see you have some down equipment. I can work on equipment because I honestly do work on equipment. And also I have some used machines. For you could say, my buddy has some used machines, and I'll be your buddy. So the gatekeeper for the owner's information is that attendant. Well, if they think you're going to help, if she thinks you're going to help her get that equipment repaired and back up so she doesn't have to worry about her customers arguing to her, she's going to gladly give you Mr. Bob or whoever, Sally Mae, the owner's information, because you now have something that's going to help her. She has incentive to give you that information. So I do that a lot, go by stores, and that gets you in contact with the decision maker, and then you can negotiate, buying a store, figuring out if they've got no term on their lease. You can go to the landlord. There's a whole lot of different ways to do it. I'd say about 75% of our stores are through acquisition, meaning we either took over a laundromat, and a lot of times we just pay them get out of their money, basically, which is not typically a whole lot, but it's a failing store. Sometimes deaths in the family or age or unforeseen circumstances lead to that, or the person never reinvested and they've gotten to the point where it's reinvestment time, but they did not show a profit. So when they go to the finance companies to get new equipment, the business shows that it's failing, so they can't get new equipment. So that's when we come in, you come in, and you're able to come in there, get a long-term lease, and finance some new equipment. I would say start saving, because a lot of these companies do want 30% down for a new investor. So save as much as you can to have the ability to do that. Some don't, but yeah.
Yeah.
And ask us some questions. All right.
I have a question. So with dealing with these manufacturers, do they offer training on repairing their machines if they go down? Because that's the biggest thing.
They do, yeah. There's lots of information out there. Most of the time that's done through their distributor. So the distributor that you choose, they'll do an educational session a few times a year. And so they will teach you, they typically bring in someone from the manufacturer, bring them in, go through the basics of a washer, basics of a dryer, talk about the most likely errors and problems that you'll have with it, and teach you hands-on how to repair it.
So we'll get that information from the
You'll get that information, but what I would say, in every area there's a local technician. Sometimes he's affiliated with the distributor. Sometimes he's just an outside rep who does maintenance. And what you want to do is, when you hire this person to fix your equipment, you want to be in their ear asking them questions and finding out exactly how they're repairing your machine, standing literally over their shoulder. That is the best teacher, because you can get a book, you can listen to a webinar, you can even go to the distributor where they come in and train you. But literally there, seeing the problem and seeing exactly how it's solved is the best teacher. When it comes to washers and dryers, washers are so simple. All it is water coming in and water going out. 95% of your problem with a washing machine is going to be either the water's not coming in through the valve, I don't care which machine it is, or water's not going out through the drain, or it's going out consistently. So it's just water coming in, water going out. On a dryer, all it is air coming in and hot air going out. So there's not a whole lot. A lot of times when you look at a control board, you may get freaked out, if you've never dealt with stuff. But when you break it down, you can simplify these problems, and experience is going to teach you that. Once you have your store, you've got your equipment physically there, and you and your husband are there seeing what's going on, you'll learn a ton. What's up, Danny?
I just want to interject. When I started doing that and looking over the shoulder of my first tech before he got electrocuted,
Did he teach you how to do that?
well, it was terrible, but he didn't die. I wanted to know what was in his tool bag. That was so important to me.
A 6-in-1.
Right.
6-in-1.
You might buy a ratchet
6-in-1.
set, but you will find literally, and this is a small thing, but it was huge to me because I'm a hands-on guy like Luke. Not to say you're not, Lee, but I wanted to know which ratchet I needed. You know what I mean? Because then I have this tool that you probably have a go bag, and I know that that's the ratchet I'm going to use, and eventually you end up with just the tools that you need.
Yep. Absolutely. There's tools you need every day, and there's tools you need once a year. Yeah, you don't keep those same tools in the same bag.
And some of these questions that you think about, I would say, especially for those who don't have a store, focus first on that lease, finding that spot and getting that lease nailed down, because the other will be able to answer in time. I know you want to know it all on the front end, but really focus on the first part, and then once you nail down and you have that lease, start focusing on the other, because we don't want to waste any of your time, effort, brain power, stress on something that is unnecessary, because before that lease or that building's under contract, that's second thought, if that makes sense.
Employees, and it's because they don't have a store yet. But
Yeah.
they're concerned in their other life or their other vocation that they've had to do that. And I have an answer, but like you said, Luke, the first thing is, why are you scared of that right now? Why are you concerned? That's the fear.
There should be other things concerning you,
Right.
more pertinent.
Yeah. I mean, Peter's scared to go talk in front of all you right now. Everybody's got a fear. It's the liquor.
What we got?
Another.
Actually, two questions. Can you speak to some of the advantages of the card system as opposed to the coin system? And the second system is, once you take over laundromats, how often do you run into substandard infrastructure
Sure.
that requires a total rework?
As somebody looking into buying a laundromat or acquiring a laundromat, what are your perceived benefits, advantages, disadvantages of a card system versus coin?
Well, I gave him the full consult last night.
Oh,
but,
okay. I was privy to that conversation.
but yeah, go ahead.
Well, some of the things like lost cards, how fast can it be read?
Yeah.
Things like that. I was telling my wife about the coin system. I'd rather do a card system because you don't have that. In Southern California, you have predators all around. They might try to get a pattern, which create other problems.
Yeah. Well,
so that seems like that might be mitigated somewhat.
Yeah, and card system gets so skewed in our industry because you have your hybrid, you have coins, you have dollar coins, the card system we think of eliminates coins. So I will tell you, and everybody doesn't have to agree with me, but the proof's in the pudding. You do not want coins. I know Danny has his model.
I'm not in the room.
Okay, you're not in the room. Okay, but Danny says don't bull around. So you do not want coins because of the constant.
The disadvantages of card
Time.
far outweigh the advantages of coin.
Yeah.
The advantages of coin are so few and far between. There truly is no comparison.
Yeah,
we operate 30-some stores, and none of them takes a quarter anywhere. Yeah, people try to put quarters sometimes in our NFC, but that happens. But nowhere do we accept quarters, dimes, nickels, dollar coins. Nowhere do we collect them. We don't have to keep an account of them. Everything is done digitally through the software of the different card manufacturer, and it just makes your life, we talk about soft costs a lot. It eliminates a lot of soft costs that coins bring on.
That's never a riff with us, or that's the wrong word, but a chasm. When you guys are in a very different position than most, and a lot of my people, it's that question, well, cards, and people say, I want cards, it just makes perfect sense. If you have one store, it might not make sense. If you have 5 stores, things start to change.
For sure.
So in the beginning, and you can swap out. But my issue is the argument for cards when you have one store, the distributor will yell at you for an hour about how great it is for you, the operator. It's all true. They'll talk to you about how you can audit your store, all true. They're 45 minutes into the spiel, if you will, and you're buying it. It's great. But you, this potential operator, has never stepped foot in a laundromat. You're not really sure what the consumer looks for. And again, one store. So
if you're talking to a distributor and you haven't gone to a laundromat and you don't know how to type a laundromat customer, we need to back up a long ways. But sorry.
And I know, and that's what I'm dealing with a lot. And I'm real.
Yeah.
So it's the same.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What I do. I'm passionate. I'm passionate about this because it literally.
I'm a passionate one. What are you talking
It
about?
literally changed my life. I couldn't sit in church because I was going to get a call that I had to leave and go fill the change machine. It was never ending. We used to be 24 hours, coins. Also thieves, they see a change machine and they think money. Well, when it comes to a card system, they don't even think about it. Knock on wood, we've had nobody cut into any of our card systems. We've had everybody and their sister try to break into our change machines the prior times. So yeah, I'm passionate about it because it's the most simple yet profound advice I can give any laundromat owner. It's worth $1 million. And nobody will ever tell you that till later they've got a bunch or they do one. And I love working with existing owners because I can really change their life. So, going from 0 to 1, that is fantastic. But I love that guy's got 11 or something because I can literally change their. Joe Dan Reed, I can when he does this, and he's got a lot going on, successful entrepreneur, but he can tell you his hand hurts because he's made so much money. Honestly.
That's right. That's the first answer.
Yeah. But what I say with the card system is our customer, we call her Angela, is a single mother. That's our primary customer, probably makes up 60% of our clientele. That's what we make all decisions based off of. The other customers are great, but that's our primary customer. She comes in every week with about 150 pounds of laundry for a whole family, and she fills those big machines up. But if you're on coin, and when we were on coin, our Angelas cheated on us. So they used to go to Joe's Laundry and the Coin Laundry up the store and the other Coin Laundry. But once we went card, and once you go card, even with one store, that customer is now going to you 10 times out of 10. Whereas when they went to the laundromat 10 times, they'd go to you 6, the Coin Laundry 3, and Billy's 1. Well, now you're getting them all 10 times, and they're also spending more per visit. Now, the card system also has to be done properly, like everything else. So you can't just put a card system with no training, but when done properly, it can really, really make the ownership lifestyle as well as your revenue and net profit really increase.
And if I can just add, he asked about lost cards. A lot of the newer systems, the user can replace their card right at the kiosk without.
Yeah.
So
That's right. Yeah.
Customer service is already handled.
Most of the time it's your telephone number, which is what we call the primary key, and so they just attach the telephone number to the card.
All of our customers, when they come in, they use their telephone number to register their account. Okay, so they've got an account. The card's just what they use to hold their account on. If they lose that card, they can come back, put in that same cell phone number, and it'll say, I see you have a card, would you like to replace it? They say yes, it cancels that old card, spits them out on a new card, but it deducts 75 cents off their balance, so it hurts a little bit.
Yeah, the replacement.
That's the replacement card. We don't charge for the initial card ourselves. But trust me, that far outweighs having to collect 2-3 times a week for the rest of your life. So don't let like a very minor thing, and you're going to have cards, you're going to have to buy cards, but I promise you it's going to pay for itself.
And the second part of that was the infrastructure. How often do you encounter such dated infrastructure you require for laundry? And how do you mitigate that?
The older the store you're looking at, the more likely it's going to have degraded sewer lines, some corroded, cast iron, some corroded water lines, things like that. Duct work, you can't imagine what we find inside some ductwork trunks.
So you just have to put that into your due diligence.
Yeah, just know the more that it's been used, the older it is, the more likely you'll either have to replace it, repair it.
Richie?
I want to know about, you guys got the card systems, how rural are your stores?
It doesn't matter.
Close to the city or?
Yes,
That's what I was going to say. So I know, grew up in Boston, you're in Texas now. Do people in Boston wash clothes like people in Texas?
I'm dealing with a totally different group, and they're all, I'd say most of them are on, you want to call it Snap or the Dole or whatever you want to call it. So I don't think they got a lot of credit cards.
Yeah. But do they have cash? Do they use cash?
And that's why I'm looking at coins.
Yeah.
We're not understanding.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you're saying.
Most likely you're underestimating your potential
what we're talking about.
laundry customers' skills.
That's what you're thinking. So everybody, a card system takes cash, credit card, Apple Pay, Android Pay.
So they put $20.
So coins and
15 of it, and
the other 5 make sure.
$3 more.
The other 5 make sure they come back, and also at the end of the year you can give away hundreds of thousands of dollars like us, or a percentage of your revenue. We do double your money with every conversion. So when we convert our stores from coin to card, we run a double your money promotion for 2 to 4 weeks. Okay, that makes it where they come in and play. We play roles all the time. So come in like that customer. Let's do it right now. Let's interact. So you're that customer. You got your quarters in your hand. Walk on in and get mad at me because it switched to card. Let's do it.
I'm not going to get mad.
No, I'm saying just play the.
What am I supposed to do with these quarters? I put a 20.
What I'm saying is somebody play.
On the card, and that's.
I understand, sir. Well, that's why we're running our double your money promotion today. So when you put 10, we're actually going to get 20. Let me show you how to register. I promise you're going to love it. Let me show you. Do you mind if I just show you? I know you're worried about that 5 that's going to be left, but that's actually free money. Okay, can I just show you? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to register you. We're going to take that $10 bill. You're going to get 20 in credit, okay, and then you're going to see how it works. Well, by the time he leaves, he is going, hey, cuz, come on down to this laundry. They did this thing and they're giving away free money. It's like investment joy at a laundromat, just giving away money. Like literally, I've never had an investment like this. So that's really how you do it. I mean, they're going to come in, they're going to be mad. No, I don't. Nobody likes change. You don't like change as the operator. The customer doesn't like change. But I promise you, it will change your life for the better. We could literally stay here for the next year and our deposits would hit just like that. Because of the systems we put in place, our wives would leave us and that would be terrible. But really, that wouldn't be possible if it was all coin. So.
See, what I'm thinking is they're saying it's $5 I could use this week and not.
Yeah, they're not.
They're in such a.
So instead of the 20 that they're going to put in, they put in a 10.
Right.
And now they get 20.
It's almost always going to.
But it's not the same as cash. So you let them know that it's not the same as cash. It's an account. We can't do it the same as cash because we run double your money promotion. You stick 100 in there, you have 200 in credit. So yeah, it's not the same as cash. And what we found is that the rural
in two visits, your new customer knows how much they're going to use every time. So they're going to load their car with exactly how much they know.
This stuff you could put $7 in there for a card.
Yeah. And we never touch the price on the machine or do free dry or anything like that because then they start to expect that. So when you give them that double your money, they don't even look at the price. Like they don't care because they just had a 10 turn into 20. Like, and now they're not going to.
That's 2 weeks. I mean, I'm being the devil's advocate. Double your money back. It's 2 or 3 weeks. You said.
Yeah, and then they load it up. Yeah. And then they continue. They love it when they go over there and they used to have to go clank, 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 boo, 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 clank, clank. And now they're going beep. You know, it starts right up. Or swipe, whatever. It starts right up. So, yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
And if I get passionate, it's just because this is my thing.
Yeah, we operate in 5,000 people towns, and we operate in 500,000 people towns. And yep, there are towns or stores in towns where we do 70% in cash, and in the same town we do 60% in card. You know, so there's pockets of how people transact business, but in no way does a card system stop them from successfully using your store. Don't be afraid of that.
We've done it 45 times, I believe. 45 of our systems. Every single time the revenue's gone up a minimum of 10% with no change. Some as high as 30 with absolutely no change in prices. Coin to card one day takes 6 hours and gross revenue increases that much. Every time. 45 times. So you can see why I believe in it. All right, next question. What we got? All right.
Okay, so I don't live in laundry, so I'm take it way back.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'm in the process of scouting. So what would you, like I know machines that don't work is like the number one thing that you're looking for. Like are there any other factors in stores that we're looking for to be like, okay, we can definitely take over this store?
Yeah, dirty, not lit well,
mean staff,
mean employees.
Yeah. Mean staff.
The meaner they are, the riper it is for the taking.
Paper signs. I don't know. That was one of the things that I caught on was paper signs.
Paper signs.
Just the word no.
No, yeah. The more signs
everywhere.
that say no, that person's ready to sell.
I live in New York, right? So
Okay.
I've seen like all of them have like paper signs. For me personally, like I'll look in the stores and they look dirty, but then they look like as if they have business. And if the stores are running, then I'm kind of like confused.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's because you're in a situation where the population density is just so much. Yeah. Like in New York, horrible businesses succeed all the time just because there's so much demand. There's not enough space to supply it all. So even if they're doing a whole bunch of business, it doesn't mean that it's worth a whole lot because it's going to need a whole lot of repair. So.
Right. So I was looking like basically like at stores that have machines that don't work because that would be the number one complaint.
Yes.
Well.
Yep. And it reduces their revenue. I mean, if they're trying to do the same revenue on 20% less of the equipment, it'll slow them down.
And if you're willing to do some work, we didn't always replace all the equipment when we went into these things. I mean, we would buy like one machine, put it at the front, but we'd fix all the other. So the harder you're willing to work, the more money you can save. Okay, but if you've got to outsource everything, and you're not willing to learn how to fix this stuff, you have to pay somebody to do it. And people charge. I mean, labor's going up along
Just go
with
into
everything
it knowing
else.
that if you have to outsource something, that just increases your cost, which might reduce your net. So just be aware. But you're in a good market even for buying. There's a lot of laundromats out there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and in a perfect scenario, you can also build a store. You know, we're looking 2,500 to 5,000 square feet upfront parking and $10 to $20 a square foot lease. That's kind of what we look for. So, yeah, you can.
I don't want to ask all the questions, but just one more question.
You're fine.
So, like, stores that have been closed down, like, what do you, like, any comments on that? Like, do you rather get one that's already functioning and failing? Or
We've done a lot that have been closed down, found them boarded up and gone. The great part about it is you avoid tap fees and the infrastructure's already there. It might be older infrastructure.
Yeah, I would say if it's vacated, then it could have some issues with infrastructure. But still, you test it
We've
out.
done a ton of those that are.
In the case that you find that there's an issue with the infrastructure, do you try to go back to the owner or the landlord to include that in your tenant improvements?
Yeah, that's what Danny's for, man.
Yeah. We do as-is leases where we lease. We own a lot of our properties now.
Well,
but
if we lease a property and we want to acquire the business, well, we have agents who will contact the landlord and just give them our website. That creates credibility, and so they say, okay, yeah.
I was talking to Luke last night in regards to scouting. Can you please make sure to inform them the importance of parking? No matter how nice it is,
Yeah.
it's not ample parking. It's just not going to work.
Yeah, definitely.
No matter what the location. If it's not-
yeah, unless you're in downtown Brooklyn and 90% of your customers are walking to your facility, yeah, the parking is extremely important.
Not just quantity, but we really prefer upfront parking if we can get it.
And you know, I watched a speech my dad did 25 years ago, and upfront parking, lights well lit, large capacity machines. The speech is still relevant today, is what I'm saying. So we always leave our lights on because it's security. You know, but each one of those dollar bills that you see in validators, that you see on YouTube videos or whatever, that represents a person, an interaction. That's just not a dollar that just got there. That stacker did not just fill up. So remember, we're in the people business. Every dollar that's there was an interaction. Somebody actually put that in there. Okay, it just doesn't just show up just because you only show up once a week. They're actually there, and there's an experience there. And if you want to fill that stacker a lot more, you just make that person who's standing there a lot more happy. How do I do that? I hire a friendly, bilingual staff member. You know, how do I do that? I paint the walls. How do I do that without spending a whole lot of money? I clean the place really well. I make sure all the light fixtures are working. You know, it's simple yet profound stuff. But I think a lot of times we forget about that human element. That person that's standing there, whether it's a change machine or a card machine, it really doesn't matter. That customer has to be your primary focus, and delivering an excellent customer experience. That's our mission, deliver an excellent customer experience. That's why we put new roofs on buildings, so it's not leaking, you know, to deliver an excellent customer experience. It's the same reason we hire staff members that aren't $10 an hour. We hire them for $16 an hour. It's the same reason we have training on a regular basis, to make sure we're consistently training our staff. It's the reason I fire people all the time on the spot. I'm the cancer doctor, okay? So yeah, and some of you in this room, especially those with laundries or businesses, the culture is yours. You know, you got to look in the mirror. That's where you can talk to all different people here, but you got to look in the mirror and make hard decisions. It's like pulling off a Band-Aid. Just do it. So if you got somebody who's negatively impacting your business, remember, you spent time and lots of money to get that business. Don't let
them get paid to ruin your investment.
Exactly.
Or your dream. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you do a wash and fold service?
We do not.
Yeah.
No, that's a trade-off that we've made years and years and years ago, and decided that our objective is to deliver an excellent customer experience to Angela, this primary target customer that we have in mind, and her alone. There might be, you know, Sandra over here, who's the target customer for a wash, dry, fold, or pickup service. And she has needs, and there are companies out there to serve her, but we're not going to try to do both. We focus, we're all about resources. Resources are limited, time, money, energy, all those things. So we want to utilize those and get the best return as we can. And that's where our expertise lies, is with just self-service on-premise laundry.
However, we facilitate that. So I talk to entrepreneurs all the time that are doing that service in our laundromat. So I love that. The companies call me, can we get half off? No, you can't. If you're blocking the store, you get to a certain amount of volume, we can work something out. But go get to where you're doing a lot and prove it to me. But they can get a card and they can use our store. Yeah, have at it. I tell them use it just like anybody else. You know, they want you to block off a section for them. I can't do that, you know, because that's going to affect Angela. Yep. So, yeah, a lot of the different companies. Yep.
Do you run 24-hour stores? Do you have attendants around the clock?
So the way we operate is partially attended. So we're open from 6 a.m. to midnight. Our last wash is 11 p.m., but the doors lock at midnight. The doors lock with magnetic locks and open at the morning at 6 a.m. Yes, sometimes somebody pries a piece of wood there and that way. So for that, we have night managers. So 7 days a week in each region. So we break our stores down into regions. And for each 7 or so stores, I have a night manager. They work 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. So they go around from store to store cleaning up and just saying hey to everybody. Everybody's friendly as all get out. So there's no security. It's security, but they're also cleaning and doing work. We've looked at outsourcing to police. Police don't do nothing but stand there like a RoboCop, and they actually scare your customers because they think something's wrong. So we just have a night manager. With one location, you know, we couldn't afford to have a night manager at each location, so we just, you know, have them. Typically about 7. Same with our regional technicians. Our regional technicians, they do the collections, facility maintenance, and maintenance on the equipment. So typically what they can handle is 5 to 7. So that's how we break it down. And then we call our staff in the stores, y'all would know as laundry attendants, we call those store managers. We do that because we empower them. We give them the ability to solve real problems. That way they don't call us, you know. So yeah, you want to empower your staff. You know, because a lot of times you can just give them the ability to give refunds and you wouldn't have to be bothered, you know, and that customer could be taken care of a lot quicker.
People can handle more authority than you think they can, and it takes a lot of weight off of you.
Do you look for them to have like security background or just?
No, just as long as they have a big smile, very helpful, good communicator. And I mean, we have some employees, some of our team members who don't speak great English. You know, English isn't their first language, but they can communicate as well and receive such incredible compliments from their customers because their actions show. They're there with a cart, they're there opening doors, they're cleaning, they're communicating in the most basic terms, and people appreciate and respect that.
And opposite, we also have them who don't speak Spanish at all. A ton of English only speakers, but kindness, that's universal. Every language knows kindness, body language, that sort of thing. But when hiring, I look for a good disposition. Disposition means they're comfortable in their own skin. They're not trying to be the boss. They don't care what I'm doing tomorrow. You know, a good disposition. You can train anybody with a good attitude. Attitude's everything. You got a bad attitude once, and we're going to talk. I'll write a warning letter or whatever, and you'll sign it. I don't even talk to them. You just slide it in front of them, say, I got to meet. They read that. They read it. You don't say a word to them. They read it, and then they sign it, or they leave. You know, so when they do it, they are reading it, and they're swallowing what I call humble pie. So they're realizing that they've not been
With their behavior, wasn't it?
meeting the mark, and most of the time they correct it, sign it, and we go on. If not, then they go on. But the next time it's just, we've already had the warning. So it's termination really quick. No bones about it.
2 strikes instead of 3.
Yeah, 2 strikes. Yeah.
No, I mean most big companies do 3 strikes. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, it depends, and it depends on what it is. But we give tons of grace. I mean, we have people call out. We give grace all the time. I mean, our staff, their kids get sick, all sorts of things. That's one of the great things about being self-service, because if they got to leave or if they don't show up for work, we still do business. There just may be some stuff on the floor. That's what we do for the holidays. So we go unattended for Christmas, but I look and people are washing clothes on Christmas. So I want them to be able to go. I You never want anybody to pull up to your store and have to leave with dirty
Their laundry down and open the doors and can.
Yeah. And we used to be 24/7, but my health, it was every night. I'd get up to use the restroom and check the phone, and there'd be homeless everywhere. And you're not going to completely get rid of homeless. So not only do you need a little bit of financial risk tolerance to getting into this business, you also need emotional, spiritual, dealing with people. If a crackhead laying in the bathroom is going to really like ruin your well-being, please don't get in this business, because there's no way.
Because it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
About once a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just have to have a thick skin.
What's the dynamic like for brothers being in this business? So me and my brother, we're trying to.
I love it.
As well.
That's great.
I just kind of want to hear from you guys, your guys' testimonial. Like for us, our dynamic, like he's the brains, I'm the bronze.
Yep.
Okay.
I do the blue collar work, he does the white collar stuff. So
Okay. Yeah. That's awesome. Oh my goodness, I love it. So yeah, we're very complementary towards each other in our skills, in the way that we operate throughout the day. So we're the exact same way. I do a lot of the financial administrative stuff. Luke's operations guy, and it works really well. Talk about it, as far as a partnership, we are 50-50. So we have to agree on big things to do them, which I think is very important. And one of the things that I talk about is the 3 Ds: death, divorce, and disagreements. You're going to die one day. I hope you don't go through a divorce, but you're going to disagree. And so the most important thing that you do is communicate really well, so that when you come to a disagreement, you know how to resolve it. And just do it as peacefully as possible. Whether it's, we need to paint it this color, we need to paint it this color, or yeah, we need to buy this laundromat. No, we need to buy this laundromat. I've said before, one of my biggest tasks, I feel like, and Luke too, is maintaining our relationship. We serve a lot of people, but the level of service that we would deliver if we did not have a good, healthy relationship would just be diminished, because that we set the culture in our company. And so if our relationship is toxic, the culture is going to be toxic, and people can see that. We have a Christmas party every year, and one of the purposes is for our staff members to see that Luke and I love each other, we work well together, and that sets a high bar and the tone for the entire company. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
but in identifying roles, like you said, your skill sets, and so you're on this, you're on that. Yeah. And so it's some of the overlap, there will be some overlap, and so if it's something big, just communicate with the other, if it's kind of in their area, just so you don't feel like he's gone behind your back and done something that might have fallen under your job description. And just communication, spend time together, and
Yeah. You get free. Y'all come to North Carolina, we'll show you around our stores or whatnot. Yeah. But yeah, just getting along. We're believers in Jesus Christ, so our faith is very important to us, and I feel like the good Lord is like the best chess player ever. And he placed each of y'all in this room, and there's no mistake. He placed y'all as brothers. Y'all both have passions. So just using those, not comparing with each other. He tries to beg me to go. He tries to beg me to go on the vacation. I try to kick him out all the time as far as like, go enjoy yourself. And because by nature, we're both workaholics. So that's one of the things that really has led to our success. But also it's one of the things that makes our relationship good, because it's never I'm working or he's worried about what time I'm getting off or it's not like that. Those things are minutia.
Don't let it be a competition. Yeah. And spend time together intentionally and spend time apart intentionally.
For sure.
You need both.
Yep.
Your dryer primarily electric or gas?
We're all gas. Yep.
Natural gas.
Yeah, 95% natural gas. We have a few stores that natural gas isn't available, and they still run beautifully.
In my area, I'm sure you guys probably know the same thing too. The same there. The rates went up so much in the past year or two.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
But gas-fired dryers are much more efficient than electric, because if natural gas is going up, the price of electricity is also going up. So you won't realize, a bigger net if you have electric dryers.
Yeah, and this past year, because of that increase he's speaking about, he's talking about natural gas. We had bills that were $1,000 go to $3,000 Like,
Well, yeah, we foresaw it coming.
so what we did was we took our dryer pricing from 85 cents for 17 minutes to $1.25. So that's a pretty big jump. But we made that jump and because we had to at the time, but we're not going to go back now that natural gas prices, so that leaves us a good healthy margin. You know, at the end of the day, you've got to make money. Don't become, you know, don't do a ton of laundry and don't make any money. You're getting in this to make some money, right? Not just bring it in, gross revenue, and spend it all out. I have friends that have $1 million companies and they don't make a dime. So net profit is what we're after. But yeah, Lee does that side, but yeah.
Yep, just always remember cash flow and a bit, whatever you want to call it, you know, your net taxable income.
How many of you in here have a relationship with a distributor, I assume, right? If you bought equipment. The new people, I will tell you, that might not want to be your first place to call when you find a location, because they've got 100 names ahead of yours. If they don't know about that location and you're the first to tell them, you've just opened up the box, you know, because they got 100 other people that are they're getting called every day. So there are some things you work hard to find a location, you know, get that lease nailed down, call that number on the sign, you know, and find out about it.
Yep.
A lot of times
and you can get estimates, quotes from distributors without telling them the location of your store or potential location of your store. Just those things can get a little bit sideways really quickly. We've met people all over the country who have had really bad experiences. So
yeah, and I mean we have
guard your
we have.
Guard,
I mean yeah,
guard what you know very closely.
And that's there's laundromat owners that don't do the business well. There's in everything, but there's great ones as well. So yeah, that's. Any question? Yeah, go ahead.
So say you're scouting a store and there's bars in the window. Do you run to the left or do you talk to the landlord about, hey, let's create more of a welcoming environment, let's remove these bars, like rank the place up a little bit?
Yeah.
We're trying to do
Yep. I would doubt that in your lease, if you were to lease that space, the bars would be required. So yeah.
Yeah, bars just say, hey, we're dangerous over here. I've cut out so
Spend
many
an
bars.
afternoon taking down bars.
Yeah, we did a whole shopping center.
Yeah, 20,000 square feet. Took the
Day one, I took all the bars down. They're like, that's so dumb. The people are going to buy.
Do you know how many people have broken in since? Yeah, none.
It's bright now. The lights are on.
Yep.
The whole facility.
Yep.
I have one more question too. That's a good point. Have you guys ever been like sued or had a lawsuit against you guys? And what are some like proactive things that you guys can do, or in hindsight you're like, oh, I should have done that?
Yeah. So typically, if you're going, we have never been sued. Typically, there's a lot of work that goes on before you are legally sued. If it's involving insurance, your insurance company should handle it. So be very well insured. And if it's someone who wants to file a claim, a suit against you, just hire an attorney who represents you and acts as your contact, your shield, your counselor, legal advisor with their counselor. But just remember, lawyers went to law school to make money, and so those two lawyers' objective might be to get into some expensive battle. So you, as the potential defendant, have to be aware of that and try to nip whatever you can in the bud.
Okay. And with that, with all your lease signings and dealings, you always hire an attorney?
No, not all of our lease signings. No, we handle a lot just ourselves. We don't.
But your
some
first
of them we
one,
don't even use
I'd recommend.
brokers, but yes,
I'd recommend.
you want a professional, especially if you're in a lease situation, because your landlord is going to pay for your broker's time.
Okay.
Their commission comes from the landlord.
But yeah, that we've definitely been threatened quite a bit. You know, so you get that call and the person's. I used to. My first one, I never forget. It was at a car wash, and a boy had gone into. They had stolen the crates because steel prices went up, so they stole the crate and the guy fell in it, and I was actually the one who pulled him out. And with my truck. Well, the next day his dad calls me fussing at me. The boy was thanking me for pulling him out. I had cones there and everything. He drove right over them. But anyway, I got a call and I was all scared, but I finally learned over due time. I was sweating like they're going to take everything we have. Just relax. That's why you have insurance, and tell them nicely. We get it all the time. No problem. You know, when a customer calls and they say, hey, you that was my $5,000 suit. Okay, well, what can we do to make it right? If it's $100, we give them $100. You know, if it's $500, we say you'll have to call our insurance company. So the $100, you'd say, why would you do that? Well, we just chalk that up as marketing. Nobody goes broke in the laundromat business from giving refunds or marketing. It's never happened. Am I right? So yeah, we just, as an industry, don't spend a whole lot of revenue on marketing.
Oh.
So.
Speaking of insurance, what are your insurance plateaus? What are your requirements?
For building liability?
Yeah, building liability.
Yeah, typically historically it's been $1 million, and yep. So a lot of our landlords have started at $3 million now, or they have the language that they can raise it whenever they want. I mean, we had one last month that said minimum is $3 million now. It's like, okay, I'll let my insurance agent know. The cost addition is negligible. Yeah.
And that covers every slip and fall and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I know you guys own several laundromats. Do you have each one an LLC, or how do you do your end?
Yeah. So we have a real estate company, a real estate holdings company, which owns all of our real estate, and we have an operations entity, which all of our laundromats operate under. We do not have the administrative nightmare of having each one as its own separate entity. There are, yes, legal protections that it might create, but I definitely recommend doing everything under one LLC, your operations under one LLC. If you get into multiple stores, just be well insured.
And when we set that up with the real estate company, we're the same 50-50 in all of our companies, but we set up a lease with our real estate company.
Yep.
So that way it's just formally done. So we have a lease set up. If we ever wanted to sell the business and keep the real estate or vice versa, we can do that.
In the CLA, the Coin Laundry Association, Brian is the president and CEO, they have great resources for insurance. So that with carriers, brokers with carriers that deal specifically with our industry.
It's not an easy industry to insure.
Yeah, not at all. We had a fire. We had someone who was mentally disturbed, I'll say, and she set a fire in one of our bathrooms. The 4,000 square foot store was a total loss after a lot of wrangling.
That's the only total loss we've had in 50 years.
The only one we've ever had. Most of the damage was water damage because the fire department comes in.
They just
fire department comes in like this. You know, it's just, come on, let's go. So our insurance company, who we had for decades, dropped us. It's like, okay, all right. So we went out there and said,
they paid us, then dropped us.
Yeah, they paid us and then dropped us. And so yeah, we were able to get insured. But yeah, it's an odd industry. It is difficult. But we do lots of audits, things like that.
Just one of the reasons we created an insurance agency specifically for laundromats back in 1988 is that it is a hard industry to insure, and part of our mission, beyond nothing wrong with making $1 or $2, but is to advocate for the insurability of the business, because there's a long list of companies that have stopped writing laundromats, or
get blackballed,
unattended, partially attended, coastal, the cash strategy. So there's a lot there. So get with someone who knows what they're doing, and make sure that it's insured properly.
Nice. Yeah.
So, quick question. You had an insurance company that was not with him, but now that you dropped, you're with him.
No, so our father was best friends with our insurance agent. but he also was past chairman of the CLA and worked really closely with Miss Ruby, who's retired now. But it is.
Again, any of our members, whether you're insured with us or not, we'll give you a consult. We'll take a look at what you're up to. And
yes.
There's personal relationships, and sometimes we're not the best price, but we just want to be a resource for everybody. What I know for sure is we're going to make sure you have an accurate and complete quote.
Yes, which is very important.
And I tell people, worst thing that happens, you find out you're a genius, you're the best negotiator of all time.
Yeah.
You know, that's the worst that happens if you get another quote and have someone look at it.
Yeah.
Anything else on laundromat? What we got?
So your store is focused on the Angela laundromats, only no washing full. So do you have any other amenities in there for the Angela, like vending machines or?
Yep, we do. We have TVs on the wall that play no news. We have no news in our laundromats. We use Atmosphere TV, so just a lot of curated content from the internet. And we keep those volumes at a minimal so that it's not distracting. And we have vending machines. Years ago, our vending was so bad. We were much smaller then. The service was poor. It reflected poorly on us. We had to give refunds that weren't even our refunds. We didn't have keys to the machines. And so we made the decision that we would slowly transition all of our vending out of outsourcing and insource that. So bring it in-house. So we just started buying a lot of the same vending machine. We have 30 some of them now. And we partner with Coca-Cola. They provide our Coke machines, and they do all the maintenance on it. We just buy their products. So we just get a net margin on it. The purpose of both of those things is just to make sure that it's a convenience for our customers. Because if they come and they left their laundry detergent on their kitchen counter, the last thing we want them to do is say, oh my word, I've got to drive to Dollar General or go back home and get it. No, they could probably spend $1.50 or $3 and buy detergent and get all their laundry done. And so we've taken what could have been a frustrating situation and turned it into, we have the solution for you. And so that's how it plays into delivering an excellent customer experience.
And our card system goes on our vending machines as well.
Yeah.
So that same card
So we don't
is
take
used.
any
There's no
coins.
cash, there's no coins anywhere, no need to break in. They still break in and steal the snacks. We had it last week. So.
Yeah.
Is that common to make one card work for everything, or is that just something that's special to your proprietary card?
Say that again? Our card?
So the card can work on vending as well?
Yes, it works universally on all of our equipment across our footprint in every store.
And there's other systems similar. We like to think we have the best, but everybody likes to think they have the best. But there are other systems out there that perform the same function. Y'all want to know names? I know Laundry Works is a good one. CCI's got a laundry card product. They also can do their fast card without the coin, I believe. There's a whole lot of ways, but do not hang on to coin is our advice, just because I just know how.
Coins just create a job for you, and the last thing you want to do is spend some money to create a job.
And just to clarify, in your vending, you're not actually filling the machine, your partner is filling them and you're getting them.
We fill.
So we fill the vending machine and the Coke machines. We buy
staff.
all the products. We have a vending manager in each region, and they're responsible for going, buying all of the products and delivering it to the store, distributing it out. So, and then our store manager throughout the day just keeps it full. There's no cash, no currency that they can steal from it. And if they take some chips,
your operation structure will be different with one store versus 3 versus 30. But but it's also similar in some respects. You have a regional manager who does the facility maintenance, collections, all that good stuff. That could be you, depending on what you're good at. You can outsource the accounting side, or you could do that. You can outsource any collaboration of any of it. For us, we've got regional managers. They cover 7 stores, collections, deposits, facilities, equipment. We've got a lady in-house. So in-house, we actually do all the HR. If you want a day off, it goes through Telma. Telma is the gatekeeper between our staff and us. If we had 75 staff members that could call us at any moment, obviously you give 10 minutes to every staff member a week, and you're looking at, you've lost your life right there. So Telma, we've got a gatekeeper kind of between us, but when it is something, she knows that she can come to us and we'll meet with any of our staff. It's an open door, but she can handle a lot of those things. We also have a customer service manager who does the training for all our new staff, onboarding. I hire all the regional managers, and she takes care of hiring all the store managers.
We were talking about earlier about, how do I fire somebody? Don't worry about how do I fire somebody. You will wear a lot of hats. You will play a lot of the roles to begin with in your first store. As you're doing that, figure out what you're good at, what you enjoy, and outsource everything else. Figure out what that looks like from a P&L perspective, how it's going to impact your bottom line, and know that that's a trade-off because quality of life matters. And if there's something that you can outsource that you're not good at and you don't enjoy, do it. You know, it might cost you a little bit, but again, there's the quality of life that it provides back, and I think that's why we're all here.
If you were assisting a new client to purchase a laundromat, like what's the typical cash-on-cash return that you're looking for?
As far as your total investment return, we're looking for, so we measure it a little bit differently. We will calculate everything that we're going to invest, and if I can get the store's gross to equal what we've invested, that's a home run. And so if your store, based on your calculations of gross revenue, how much capacity you have, how many turns per day you're going to do, is pretty close to what you're going to gross in that year, that's good. Because typically in our industry, you're going to net somewhere in the 20% range, in 18 to 25%. So those typically align with each other. I come at it a little bit differently than normal.
We look for 30% though.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. So our goal is 30% net and 50% of that as positive cash flow. That's our goals.
And that same investment as gross is tough for a new investor because the distributor, you might not get a break on equipment. You're doing construction for the first time, working with this GC possibly if you're building.
We haven't opened our first store.
Your expenses may be a little higher.
Yep.
But
especially now. Woo.
Yep.
Yeah. It's tough.
I want to ask.
Costs, rates, everything.
Is there anything that you guys want to say? First of all, thank you so much for being here. It means the world to me, leaving your wives and family and all that. I know it's Vegas, but seriously, thank you so much. Is there anything, and I always ask in an interview, is there anything you want to say? And that's because at the end of the day, you leave and you're like, you can have quiet conversations with everybody here.
Yeah.
But anything you've left out, you think?
For me, it's about people. Look in the mirror. You're the problem to your solution. That's what we train all of our staff. You are the problem to your solution. We're all glorified firefighters. But care, have empathy for your staff, give them grace. And there's definitely the part where you have to throw down the hatchet. But this is a wonderful business. You get to meet amazing people. But like I said earlier, that dollar in that cash validator represents an interaction of a human being. Okay? That person is just as important as anybody else in this room. So we just have to keep that in mind as we're serving. And if you do that, if you care, and if you do that, the small decisions you make will be made to make sure that person's well taken care of. And it won't matter if you coin or card or any of that, because you'll be successful because you're taking care of your customer. So, and lastly, your staff. So, just give time to your staff. We try to know all of our staff on a first name basis, and we do intentionally work really hard to spend time with our staff. Ask them how they're doing, because just giving them that moment, it's so much easier to retain a staff member than to train a new one. So give them a moment of your time on a regular basis. And if you can't do that, if you're like your social ability is not to do that, hire somebody, one of your staff members who's friendly. Say, hey, can you make sure you're checking on the rest of the team at least once a month and just giving them 5 minutes. Talk about their grandma. And if you find out that they need, $500 for their car, lug nuts went out or something, let me know that. Bring that to me. And we do all sorts of things like that, just to try to help our staff. So, that is what I would have to say, because people are so important. Give them time. We always say we're going to get there. Well, a lot of times you guys in this room are already there. Many of y'all are successful. This room is filled with successful people. And it's cool what we're doing. We're talking. We want to help others be successful. But there's never any like destination. Enjoy the process. Enjoy this weekend. Enjoy stopping by laundromats. Enjoy fixing your first top loader if you get a janky one, and getting rid of it at some point, but enjoy the process.
Yeah, for me it would be know whom you serve. That's a biblical concept that is important for me. What I do is for the glory of the Lord. It's not so that I can make myself rich and famous. So that's how I operate my life. And so that manifests itself in our business model, the ethics that we bring in to our operations. And Angeles, whatever you want to call her, she is whom we exist to serve. And if we serve her well, we'll also serve James well, and Steve, and John, and Sarah, because they expect pretty similar things. But our primary customer is our customer, then it's our staff, as Luke said, and then it's ourselves. As long as those things are in order, we'll continue to be successful, because resources are limited. We want to allocate our resources appropriately to make sure that each of those tiers of people is well taken care of.
Yep. One other thing I want to say is think before getting into a partnership with someone. Make sure that you trust them. My grandfather passed away last year. He was the one who got that first laundry. He worked in a sawmill really hard, became a farmer. But he told me one time before he passed, he said, "Luke, I've been on a ship to Normandy Beach in World War II, where it was terrible." He said, "But I'll get back on that ship before I get in a partnership." So
that says a lot.
So that always said a lot to me.
Well, partnerships are more than just a legal agreement. There's a lot more that goes into it, like we were talking about. It's a relationship, so you have to make sure it's healthy.
And I'm saying that to honor my grandfather as for what, but also to just not to say to not get in a partnership, but think about it. Have those tough conversations prior. You guys talk. Whoever you're doing, and know the roles. There may be one that's the funding and one's that's the operation. Remember that when you're later down the road and the guy who funded it wasn't there, but he gave you the seed money.
I would say the reverse. The reverse I would say is outserve the other. Just outdo the other. Outdo the other. Lots of grace and just serve even more. And before you know it, you're outserved.
One other thing my grandfather always said is there's
one other thing.
There's
lastly
the power of perpetual effect. So whatever you do on a daily basis, it has power. Whether it's you're bringing a negative attitude or a positive, that over a long period of time has a perpetual effect, either good or bad. But whatever you're doing in your life, whether it's with your health or finances or business, it has a long-term effect. So it's either helping you get to where you want to go, or it's not helping you get to where you want to go. I meet a lot of people that are in life are on Highway 95 South, and they think they're going to New York. I'm going to New York. No, you're ending up in Miami. I'm telling you. So don't lie to yourself. Be realistic. Look in the mirror. Okay. Know yourself. Be realistic. But great business. You're in the right place, and I'm just thankful to be here. We always do a high five.
There you go.